You're listening to Heroes in the Moment.
What's up, heroes? I'm Michael.
And it's your boy Nathan.
And today, Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
Let's get it, man.
Our first Shazam podcast.
Is it actually our first Shazam podcast?
Because we didn't cover Shazam because that came out back in 2019 before the pod
way back
came into existence. So
way back.
I'm excited to talk about Shazam Fury of the Gods. I was a huge fan of the first Shazam. You weren't, right?
Yeah, but initially I wasn't. But over the years as I've rewatched it, it's definitely gotten better for me.
Right.
And I will say it's one of the best DCEU films.
Right,
and it's an amazing origin story.
It is a really good origin story. I've always really liked the character.
It works
Shazam,
really well for the character.
It does. And Zachary Levi, of course, is a very, very great Shazam. And of course, Asher Angel plays, of course, Billy Batson does a pretty good job as well. And of course, we're getting our second one 4 years later. So to get into Shazam Fury of the Gods. So right off the bat, we see Shazam in kind of this state of depression in a way. He's like, and very comedic. It looks very funny, and this is one of the movies that needs to be funny. I agree.
Yeah,
it's a kid.
It's a kid.
It's a kid being a superhero. It has to be pretty funny and lighthearted. Yeah, I agree. So we see him talking to a pediatrician about his problems, and
pediatrician.
He's like, "There's all kinds of better superheroes out there. Like, you got Flash and Aquaman and Batman, who's super cool."
He's like, dude, Flash is already red and has a lightning symbol on him.
It's so funny. And then the dude's like, "I'm a pediatrician." Yeah, that was funny.
He's like, Aquaman's like super manly.
No, he's just great. Batman, he's just black and cool. I love that. That was so funny.
It's hilarious.
And the one thing I do seem to like and also dislike at the same time is the Shazam Fury of the Gods trailer seems to play a lot on family. Of course, Dom Toretto would be proud.
Yeah. They freaking mentioned
They made the
too.
meme alive in this movie.
I can't believe they mentioned it.
I know, they did, because it's like, I've seen every Fast and Furious movie. And you know what we need? Family.
It's
like, that's your signal.
It's be a family.
That was funny. But yeah, it just seemed to play with the Shazam family, all these other characters, which I'm not a huge fan of, because personally, like, the Shazam family, yeah, it's in the comics and stuff, but I really prefer, like, it seems like it's their own Justice League, and I really prefer, like, an individual film, like the first one was, more so, instead of them all being together, and who knows, maybe they'll get their powers taken from them or something like that.
I also feel like we haven't seen enough of Shazam yet to be able to have all those characters, to have his family thrown in there. Like take, for instance, Civil War. Like, Cap's character was, like, really well built up, so by the time the third one came around, there's still, like, huge cast of heroes in the character, but they supported like kind of his role because he was like well thought out. And this one, it feels like we've only seen one movie with Shazam, and then instantly we're getting thrown with all these other characters. It's like, I just wish we had more time with him.
And I agree. So I don't know. I mean, who knows? They could pull it off really, really well. But I don't know. I would prefer more of him, like you said, and seeing him and struggle. Like we're seeing him struggle a little bit in this movie. And of course, he's saying that I'm not the best. I'm not a superhero. I'm just a kid, pretty much, essentially.
Yeah.
And then later in the trailer, you get him like, this is the best ever, throwing like dragons around and all this stuff. So funny. And I can't wait to see him interact with other DC characters, because some of the funniest interactions in the comics and the old Justice League shows and cartoons and stuff like that is when Shazam's interacting with the rest of the Justice League.
Dude,
it's so funny.
I think him and Batman would be absolutely hilarious.
Dude, they are. There's this one scene I'll mention briefly from the Justice League, or it may have been Young Justice, the show, and then Shazam, everybody finds out he's a kid, and everybody thinks he shouldn't be on the Justice League anymore because he is a kid.
Yeah. And
then Batman defends him the whole time. He's just like, he may be, but he's a good one. So it's funny. I love that. But their interaction's hilarious. But I would like to see him interact with other characters, because we haven't got that yet, except for Superman at the very end of Shazam 1. And we didn't get to see his face, unfortunately. So, all right. But then we see, of course, glimpses of who will be the villain. And the villain's name is Hespera, the old lady girl. So it seems like, they're playing into a lot of Greek god culture, mythology, and stuff like that, going into that stuff. And I'm like, what happened to the end credit scene of Shazam 1 with the little, caterpillar, but
I'm not sure. I do know that in the first Shazam, one of the weakest parts was the villain, at least in my opinion.
Dr. Shiva.
I was just never very attracted to or felt anything. So I don't think they can do too much to be worse, but just judging from the trailer alone, I'm not too hyped for the villain of this film.
I'm not either.
I don't understand like the motives, and obviously, like the stakes.
With Black Adam also coming out this year, and it's just to mention, it's a super big year for Dwayne Johnson, because he's playing, of course, Crypto in League of Superhero Pets. Then Black Adam, and he's also a producer on Shazam Fury of the Gods. So,
Oh, really?
big year for Samuel L. Jackson with DC. Or Samuel L. Jackson. Dwayne Johnson.
Samuel Jackson.
I'm thinking of
Black
Secret
Adam,
Invasion.
baby.
He's Black Adam.
Imagine,
Dwayne
dude.
Johnson, The Rock. My bad. Anyway, but I would love to see the movie between Shazam and Black Adam, but I'm thinking they're saving that for Shazam 3, and
Yeah.
they're going to do like Shazam
Their
versus
whole
Black Adam or
trilogy.
something like that, which would be awesome.
Shazam versus Morbius.
Shazam.
It's
Greatest
fair.
movie
It's
of all
not fair.
time.
It's not
fair.
It's not fair.
Shazam would have no chance. None against Morbius, the best Morbin superhero. All right, anyway. All right, so I would love to see Black Adam and Shazam interaction, but I feel like they're saving that for the future, hopefully at least. So we'll see with that. So what do you? So they'll get a little bit glimpses of the rest of the family and they're fighting. Do you think that they will have as big of a role as it showed in the movie as they will?
I think, to be honest, they'll have a bigger role than what we've seen. Like, I mean, obviously, we saw, several scenes with them, but I really feel like, I mean, especially as he's a kid, I feel like this movie is just really gonna like enforce like a lot of family values, family ties, which is a good thing. But at the same time, we want a movie about the hero. So most of the shots we see him, like he's with, all of his other siblings, and they're all like freaking gods now.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, you got a bunch of gods flying around. That's just OP.
I know. I was hoping, like,
You know?
because we see the wizard's back in this movie, and of course
He seems to have a really big
He
role.
seems to have a lot bigger. of a
He's
role.
a lot of scenes in the trailer,
which I'm
man.
okay with that. I like the wizard. I think he's kind of cool.
I thought he was just. I didn't understand his role in the first one either. Like,
He gave him his powers.
he was cool, but like, he was like comedy too at the same time. I'm like,
right.
I don't.
Right.
I can't vibe. He reminds me of Jordan Peele. Every time I see him, I think of Jordan Peele,
Yeah,
and I don't know why.
I see why. He's the guy who plays. Oh shoot, what's his name? He plays in Marvel. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's the guy we really liked in that one What If episode who turned like Star-Lord.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that guy.
I don't know his name.
I don't know his name either.
That's
but he's
him.
that guy.
Oh, I didn't know
that's
that.
guy.
I didn't know
So,
that. All right.
but anyway, yeah, he seems to have a bigger role in this movie.
Star-Lord.
Oh man, I love that
That
episode.
shit's
It was so funny. I love that dude.
Such
The goat,
funny.
just like Morbius. All right.
Oh,
Anyway,
facts.
so we see them interactions, but I really think, I hope honestly, that the family gets their powers stripped from him, and then he has to like save them. Shazam does. I hope that's what happens more so than them being a team the whole movie and stop solving it all together. Because obviously it's called Fury of the Gods, so obviously it's going to play in a lot of like Greek gods, mythology, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
who is this Greek villain then?
Hespera. is her
So
name.
she's in. I don't know too much about Greek mythology.
I don't-
like what's
yeah.
she even over? Like what's she do?
I'm
And
not
why
exactly
is she
sure.
really old? I didn't know that like the Greek gods like age like that.
Yeah, I know. Peculiar. I don't really know exactly what her role is.
Like, I just have a hard time picturing a kid in Zachary Levi's body punching an old lady.
I know, unless she's not like the villain, unless she's like somebody controlling something and sending others
I
after
guess
him.
who would?
I don't know.
Would?
I don't know. It feels like another like villain weak point for this movie because like older
It
lady
does.
versus a man child is
It does.
not gonna.
And it does. And to be honest, if I were the writers, I kind of would have wanted to stray a little bit away from maybe the whole mythology side. I mean, we've seen a lot of that with Diana, right? With Wonder Woman,
Right.
in the same shared universe. So I don't know. Just point out this makes it feels like she should be in this,
Right.
like due to the relative closeness of their different countries.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know.
I agree, but who knows? Maybe they'll pull it off, and who knows? Maybe this movie will be really good. I mean, to be honest, this trailer it was funny, but I wasn't a huge fan of the trailer altogether because it was just so comedic.
Yeah.
It didn't really.
It
give
didn't
us
seem to flow
insight.
super well
Yeah.
either. Or
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think that I really think the first one will be better.
I agree.
Judging off, it's still gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be decent, but I don't know. I don't think it'll
can
top the
see.
first.
And I could also see it being like not good at all too. Like I can see it being like pretty not good. So we'll
It's
see.
like a 40% Rotten Tomatoes.
I could see that because the first one's got
Yeah.
like a 91 or something like
A
that.
91.
Mhm.
See, it's good, but I don't think it deserves a 91.
Yeah, but it has like a 90
Holy,
something on
dude.
Rotten Tomatoes. So who knows? And I mean, people love this kind of stuff. So and it's very family oriented. So maybe if they keep working on that, they'll do really well again.
They do
I
well in the
don't know.
box office because
I don't think it's going to do well in the
Can't see
box
it.
office because first of all, November, is going to be run by Black Panther, obviously, right?
Mm.
And then we have another DC animated movie coming around Thanksgiving, and then of course,
What's
I forget what it's called.
I
It's
know we
something
did.
like Fantasy World, or something like that.
Really, they're making an anime movie.
Yeah.
I didn't
Anyway,
know that.
well, Disney,
Oh,
not
Disney is-
DC,
Gotcha,
Disney,
Gotcha.
and then this is being released the same day as Avatar 2,
What?
the same day.
Bruh.
So I think it's going to get overshadowed at the box office for sure.
Yeah, I'm predicting it's gonna make 450 million.
I think it may make less, if I'm being honest, because I predict Avatar's going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Over, probably.
Yeah.
And I think Black Panther will make over $1 billion, if I'm being frank. So I think this movie can make like 200 to 300 to 400 million, somewhere in that range.
Oh, wow.
I really don't think it's going to do very well.
Yeah, the time is definitely not working.
I know. They did not pick a good release date. That is for sure. Think smarter, DC, please.
You're talking about the sequel to the highest grossing film of all time.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But that pretty much concludes the Shazam. Not a lot happened. Pretty dull trailer, but we'll see. I hope it's going to be good. But my expectations aren't super high.
All right, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know by giving us a review and a download. Here's in the Moment is available on all major podcast platforms. So just go ahead, give us a listen, give us a download, and we want to let y'all know we do appreciate the support a lot.
For sure.
So thank y'all. Thank you. Announcement time. Our next episode will be on Tuesday. We're breaking down the new DC League of Super Pets movie. I think it's gonna be goated. I really think I won't be surprised if that hit $1 billion. To be honest, it's a kids movie. It's a kids movie, and it's involving DC stuff too.
I don't see $1 billion. I can see like 600 to 700 million.
600 to 700. We already called it. We think it's gonna be about a 7.5. But we're excited. So we'll be breaking that down. It'll be coming out Tuesday, 5 a.m. So stay tuned.
All right. We just want to thank y'all for listening. And as always, we love you 3000.